Hi, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about cheap anamorphic. Well, not really cheap, but less expensive and kind of a workaround to get anamorphic look. For those of you who don't know what anamorphic is, that is where your image is squashed and then you stretch it back out to give you a wider field of view. So basically it allows more space on the sides by squashing your image. I don't know all the technical stuff for it, but that's basically the idea. And so what you do is you have there's different types of anamorphic. There's a 1.33 to 1, and then there's like a 2 to 1, and that just depends on how much you stretch it. Anyway, so today I want to talk about the Letus AnamorphX adapter. I was doing a project that we were talking about doing anamorphic. We looked into renting anamorphic lenses and it was just out of the question, out of the budget. The client was not willing to pay that much, but the client still wanted to try it out and they were willing to pay just that little bit, 150 bucks, to test out this anamorphic adapter to see if maybe we could just do it with an adapter rather than renting the lenses, which was far more expensive. I rented this from Lens Rentals. If you're interested in Lens Rentals, it's where I rent most of my stuff to test out. Link in the description below if you're interested in looking into renting from them. The idea with this adapter is it screws onto the front of any lens. And it has two different rings that they have. It has a 82 millimeter and a 77 millimeter. And it screws onto the front of the lens. I have an L series lens here. I take the adapter ring, I screw it on, and then you can see here how big this thing is. It's pretty good sized and it's a little bit hefty. And so just make sure that if you're gonna use a longer lens, to have some sort of support system for the adapter. And it does have a screw on the bottom to give it some lens support as well if you need to. So then what you do is you take the back cap off the back and it slides over this adapter. And you'll kind of click into place once it slides in, and then once it slides in, you tighten it and you got yourself an anamorphic adapter. Yeah, and then on the front you kind of have a field of plane focus, which helps focus in your image. That's kind of the basic overview of how to do it. You screw this ring on, you plug it on there, and then it's on. Now that's only the first part. The next part is to calibrate it so that your horizontal lines are actual horizontal lines. And to do this, the tip that they give is to use a cell phone or some sort of light. I use my cell phone, as you can tell, gaff taped to a lovely C-stand here. You make sure that the awesome lens flares that you get from anamorphic are straight. So I put a grid on the camera so I could see exactly where those lines are. And then what you do is you loosen the front of the adapter and you rotate it just ever so slightly as you go until those lines are horizontal. And once they're horizontal, you know that the lens adapter is now in place and you're ready to go in now. Out and shoot with it. Now, a few things to know. Number one, vignetting. You do get massive vignetting on this thing. The widest I could go on the 4.6K Ursa Mini was 16 was the widest I could go. Anything wider than 16 and you saw the edges, which 16 is pretty stinking wide. Second thing is if you go too close with this, if you go on a 2 telephoto, you can't pull focus. You can't get focus on your image. And you can see that here. I went to an 85 and focus I couldn't get focus. I got this kind of wobbly look, you can see. So anything above a 50 is not usable with this adapter, and anything below a 16, I'd even say a 21. I think 16 I still saw a little bit. So like right around 16 and nothing above 50. And so as long as you're using that range of focal lengths, you should be fine. But anything more than that, and you do get some issues. Now, even at a 50 and even at a 35, the image isn't super sharp. You are shooting through a lot of different glass, and it wasn't it's not true anamorphic. You're kind of faking it through shooting through this adapter. So it does have some limitations, and just know that going into it. And I figured this was gonna be the case as we looked into shooting with this adapter. You can see here, I have 2 shots, one with the adapter, and you can see the vignetting just a tiny bit on the sides. And then you can see it shot spherical, not anamorphic. So there's the big difference. You can see here it is all squeezed. Let me unsqueeze it real quick. And then that's kind of what it looks normal. And then if I overlay this one over top, you can see how much field of view you're getting extra on the sides here, which is a significant amount, especially if you're working in smaller spaces. Now the other beautiful thing about anamorphic is how it shapes around the face. So you can get these shots that are really close. This was on a 35 and I was pretty close to the lens, and it just gives this kind of 3D look. And of course you can get these crazy cool lens flares, which are awesome. JJ Abrams in the house. Anyway, I had the adapter and I was just shooting all sorts of crazy footage, and I decided to make a fun little short piece, so check it out. It's called Doors.
Doors! Sideways doors, silver doors, handle doors. Look at these doors! Left. Exit doors, turkey doors, enter doors, epic doors! Left, back.
So that was pretty ridiculous, but pretty awesome. Anyway, so that kind of gives you an idea. There were 2 shots in there that were not anamorphic. I had returned adapter, and so what I did was just crop on those 2 shots. And that is this one where I'm actually slamming the head in the door. That's not anamorphic. And then the one of the close-up of my head, of my face as I slam the head in the door is also not with the adapter, not true anamorphic. It was just cropped to make it look like that. And that's the nice thing, is if you are shooting anamorphic and then you want to do a closer focal length, you can fake the anamorphic in post by cropping the image to make it fit within that same field of view. And it still looks okay. It's obviously not anamorphic. You're not getting that beautiful wide view with still keeping the great focal length. So yeah, that's kind of the overview of this. Now here's my takeaway from it. So that was a lot, and thanks for sticking with me if you did. If you didn't, hey, sayonara, whatever. It's bulky, it's kind of annoying. It takes quite a finessing. When you're switching lenses, it's a pain in the butt. So I put a zoom on so I didn't have to. I had the 16 to 35, so I just kind of stayed on that lens the whole time and just did my zooms. It's not super sharp of an adapter. It is a great workaround if you want the anamorphic look for cheap. Basically, that's what I would chalk it up for. It's not something that was feasible for the project that we were shooting it for. It was just too cumbersome, too large, and too finicky to trust on the bigger project without doing more and more tests. And we just didn't have the time to do that, so we chose to shoot everything spherical. Just know going into it, it's gonna be a little bit more setup. It's gonna be, you're gonna have to kind of tweak it. On the front, it has kind of a focus ring to tweak your focus. Again, if you go above a 50, that focus doesn't work. You won't be able to pull focus, at least from my experience with it. Again, if you're looking for a cheap way to get anamorphic, go check it out. lensrentals.com, great place to rent it. Link in the description. If you use the link, you get $25 off. Thanks so much. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was interesting. If not, hey, sorry. Let me know in the comments any other types of videos you guys want to see. And yeah, be sure to subscribe. Thanks. By the way, this was not shot anamorphic, this part of the video, but there's other stuff that was.